Shalom. Call Lord Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Double honors to the men that I learned this truth from, starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and all the men on down. Yahweh Bashem Al Shai Brakatham to the hopefully elect. And just back with the continuation, dealing with the four horsemen spoken about in Revelations, the sixth chapter, or the four apocalyptic horsemen, or the four seals. So, yeah, we already went over the white horse. Went over the red horse, white horse. Just a brief rundown. All right, it's going into Havashai, and the chariot when he shows up. All right, to reclaim and establish, um, the kingdom on this earth. All right, to establish the kingdom on this earth and take Esau Edom out of this, out of his power seat. All right, because he's been given a time to rule. All right, as the scriptures say. Um, the bounds he's been given a bound that he can't cross. All right, not a second millisecond over. All right, and that's going into the red horse. All right, which again went over. Just like about that. The red horse being the Esau Edom, which because he's a lot of times you hear us refer to Esau as the so-called white man because he's not white. All right, white in the Bible represents a lot of times often associated with righteousness and purity. All right, and he being in the mindset of that the godlike mindset that Esau has. All right, proclaiming himself to be righteous. He proclaims himself and exalts himself as the Most High. All right, so this is why again, because that's that title of being white. All right, it's a self-proclaimed title. All right, but in fact, because again, he's not white. He's red. You know, the red Hebrew Edomites. All right, their blood shows forth through their translucent skin. All right, because they have no pigmentation in their skin. So went over that. All right, the red horse going into Esau Edom, and like I mentioned, because when you read verse 4 real quick, it says, "And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth." All right, so he was given power. He was given the blessings of the heaven, Slakia. He was given the dew of heaven, the blessing of the sword and things of that nature to take power, to take peace from the earth and things of that nature. All right, because again, at the end of the day, Esau, he's not more than a pawn for Yahweh Shemel Shai, and he's set up to do the will of Yahweh Shemel Shai, whether he wants to accept it or not. Right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and go into the third seal, or the third horseman, which would be the black horse. Here in Revelation 6, starting at verse 5, it says, "And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast saying, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." All right. Um. So yeah. Or what's going into? What's this black horse going into? Well, um, just first I'm gonna say it's pretty much just going into slavery. All right. Real quick, I want to get this definition here. This balance, the balances. All right, this black horse given the a pair of balances.
Strong's G 2218 Zugas. Zugas.
Zugas or zygos, right? And when again you look up the definition, it says a yoke that is put on draught cattle, but for use of any burden or bondage, as that of slavery. So you see, again, because well, let me read it out. It says of troublesome laws imposed on one, especially of the Mosaic law. Hence, the name is so transferred to the commands of Hamashiach, as to contrast them with the commands of the Pharisees, which were a veritable yoke. Yet even Hamashiach's commands must be submitted to, though easier to be kept, a balanced pair of scales. All right, but basically, again, these balances going into yoke or slavery, as it read here. All right, and again, this black horse, that's exactly that's what it's going into, slavery for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians. All right, because when you go through the curses, man. Where's that? Deuteronomy 28. Because again, remember the this yoke, the balances goes into the yoke, right? So let me look for this real quick. Where would that be? I think that would be somewhere in the 40s. Deuteronomy 28. Let me run through this. Because remember, Deuteronomy the 20th chapter, all right, it goes into the blessings, if you kept the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shemel Shai, and the curses that will befall us if, we went astray and disobeyed, right? And that's exactly what happened, all right? We we are turned aside from the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shemel Shai, and that yoke, the Lord put that yoke upon us. Because in a previous video I mentioned, dealing with these different captivities. You read about the Syrian captivity, Babylonians, and all these other captivities, so on and so forth. All right. Um, these different nations were used because, like I said, because it's not only Esau that's the spanking tool for Yahweh Shemir Shah. It's all these other different nations and all these captivities that we went under. All right. It was always these nations. The Lord used them as a whipping stick for the nation of Israel because again we went astray. We went into a contract and an agreement with Yahweh Shemel Shai, and we broke that covenant. All right. So again, pursuant to these curses, all right, part of the curses that will befall us. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna start at verse Deuteronomy 28. I'm gonna start at verse 48. It says, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall stand against thee." So you see again, all right, because again, again, man, because all this, man, this is all the will of Yahweh Shemel Shai. I've been putting emphasis on how, like concerning the red horse, and power was given unto him. All right, Esau, Edom was given the blessing, as I went over in the previous video concerning Esau. Going back to the book of Genesis. All right, Esau was given the blessing of the sword. He was given the dew of heaven. He was given these things. He was given that time to rule. All right, he was given all these things because again, he's not more, as well as all these other nations. They're not more than whipping sticks, the spanking rod of Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right. So again, ultimately it was the Lord that sent us over into slavery. All right. But I read Deuteronomy 28:48 again. It says, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things." So you see, because um, contrary to some of these Israelite groups that talk about yes, and I'm talking about the Israelite groups. All right, you got Israelite groups that are in the mindset of establishing themselves in this society. All right, when the scriptures clearly tell us this is not our rest. This is no place for us to be getting comfortable and complacent. Trying to establish the kingdom on earth, because it's not, well, it's like it, because the kingdom is going to be established on earth, but um not here in the form of America. All right, we're not going to get it on this side. All right, because again, some of these Israelite camps are teaching, building up communities and things of that nature. All right, and again, that's just it doesn't make any sense. All right, because even with that, let's say you do establish yourself, and you get your own community and things of that nature. One way or the other, man, you still gotta, these curses are still going to come upon you, because again, like I read here, um in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. So you see, we're still going to have to go to, we're still going to be oppressed one way or the other. And we're still going to have to go turn to the enemy in need and in want of all things. All right. And we read on, it says, "And he shall put a yoke." So you see that same yoke, going back to the balances, spoken about in Revelations, the 6th chapter. All right. That those balances, that yoke. All right. What was it? Zygos, right? The word there for balances, zygos, or yoke, slavery. All right. It says, "And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, and until he have destroyed thee." All right. And again, when you read throughout slavery, man, especially throughout the transatlantic slave trade, you know, um, when pretty much you had the southern tribe over here. I mean, because you could just look up pictures on Google, man, and the physical yoke that they had around the Jake's necks and things of that nature, right? Physically and also mentally, all right? Because even today, man, a lot of Jake, man, they're still in that state of mental slavery, man. They're from the neck up, man. They're just dead, walking zombies, all right? Um, but nevertheless, man, and even with that, all right, because again, at the end of the day, man, I mean, for the most part, man, hey, man, we got to wake up, we got to go to work for the so-called white man, all right. And again, go back to these curses, man, and need and one of all things, man. We got to go to the enemy for these things, and these people, man, they oppress us, man. They're these curses, man. Especially like I said, throughout the translated slave trade and even up until now, man, these curses, man, they've hit us. They hit us heavy, man. All right. Um, you know, but again, it all goes back to that yoke. All right. That the slavery, the bondage. All right. Because if Revelations, where it talks about, I believe that's Revelations 11, how America is spiritually is called Egypt. All right. And if you know about the when you look into the word Egypt, it just goes into bondage. It goes into slavery. All right. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Have a look. Went into that in a minute. Because yeah, man, because one of the reasons America um is spiritually called Egypt because, well, for one, all right, during the time of ancient Egypt, you had all the 12 tribes pretty much together, suffering and whatnot. All right, and again, it's the same, pretty much the same thing today. All right, though you have Israelites everywhere, but the majority of all the tribes, nowhere else do you really have all the tribes in one, gathered in one place like here in America. All right, and just like in ancient Egypt, man, the Jake was suffering, man. They were catching hell, heavy bondage. All right, hence the name Egypt. All right, bondage. I think this is it. Exodus 22. That should be it. Exodus 22, it says, I am Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So you see, which again, just goes into slavery. All right, because during the time of the ancient Egypt, we were, I mean, we suffered heavy afflictions, and the Israelites, crying out to the Heavenly Father, you know. Um, but unlike ancient Egypt, during in modern day, like right now, all right, all of Israel is not gonna cry out. Only the elect are gonna seek Yahweh Shemel Shai while he may be found. Only the elect are crying out to Yahweh Shemel Shai to be delivered. All right, but nevertheless, going into this go back to Revelations 6, this black horse. All right, Revelation 6:5 again, it says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. All right, so again, we look into that balances, as I did earlier, it goes into the zygos, all right, which goes into the yoke or slavery, bondage. All right, so this is going into the bondage, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians. All right, and just so I actually have a few precepts lined up dealing with that. Get this in Hosea 12:7. It says, he is a merchant. The balances of deceit are in his hand. He loveth to oppress. All right. And who's that talking to? Talking about. All right. It's talking about more so Esau, Edom. All right. They love to oppress. All right. Because again, he's been given that power to do so. All right. Because again, being that, we sinned, we went off. All right. We turned astray from Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right. And he's used, as well as the other nations, but more so Esau, Edom, as a whipping stool, a whipping stick, a spanking tool to punish us. And like I said, man, these curses, man, they hit us heavy, man. All right, Jake, barely making ends meet, man. working multiple jobs to barely make ends meet, man, living paycheck to paycheck. All right, we're living in an oppressive system. All right, and Esau, man, they love to oppress, man. This is how that they um they just continue to get rich off of our oppression. All right, their unrighteous decrees and things of that nature. All right, which a lot of the stuff that they got set up, man, it's illegal. It goes it's contrary to the laws and statutes of Yahweh Shemel Shai, which that's how man, he's not who he proclaims himself to be, which again he exalts himself as the Most High, because again, a lot of the stuff that they got set up, man, it goes contrary to the laws of Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right, not supposed to be um we're not supposed to be using usury, all right, theft, robbery, and all these things that Esau does, man. Because again, this whole system that they got set up, man, is set up to oppress us. All right, the whole debt system, man, is set up to keep us in debt, right? And all of the above, man. It's just an oppressive system, designed to keep us in an oppressive state, man. So that's why we gotta um you know um get the hell up out of here, man. This is why we need the our deliverer, man. Because on another note, because again, going back to these curses, man, only um Yahweh Shemel Shai can deliver us. Going back to Deuteronomy 28, reading 68, it says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships." So you see, again, because concerning Egypt, all right, which again, this is talking about America, all right, because from Egypt, from the actual land of Egypt to Israel, you don't need ships. All right, it's damn nearly walking distance. You don't need to you don't need ships to carry going back and forth. All right, that's how this is talking about America. All right, and again, going back to the transatlantic slave trade, how did they for the most part bring Jake over here to the Americas, um, via ships. All right, it says, "By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." So you see, not buy. Let me see if it says it here, if it gives a good definition. The buy is what I want to focus on. It says to get, create, buy, possess, to get, acquire, obtain, um, to buy. Doesn't really give the definition that I'm looking for, but basically when you go into that word, it goes into redeeming. All right, because again, no one's going to be able to redeem us out of this captivity. Or the only one to redeem us from this captivity, save us, is Yahweh Shai. All right, and that's going to take place when he comes. Going back to the white horse, when he shows up in the massive chariot, all right, to deliver us. All right, that's when we get redeemed. All right, those that have been crying out and sighing to Yahweh Shem Shai. All right, that's when it's going to take place. That's when we're going to get redeemed. We're going to get released from this captivity. All right, and we're not going to have to deal with this no more. All right. Um, but yeah, again, he was given that power to he was given the yoke. All right, he was given those balances. All right, and like I said, because it was given to him, and the Lord is going to be the Lord. The Lord is going to be the one to take it away at the end of the day. All right, so I'm just get this. Micah 6:10. It says, "And there yet, I don't think that's what I wanted, but I'll go ahead and read it anyways." Micah 6:10, it says, "And there yet the treasures of wickedness in the house of the wicked, and the scant measure that is abominable, shall I count them pure with the wicked balances and with the bag of deceitful weights? For the rich men thereof are full of violence." All right, and again, who has all the riches, the wealth and resources? That will be the elites of this world, beginning with Esau Edom. All right, and again, that goes back to his blessing. He was given the dew and the fatness of the earth. All right. Um, it says, "And the inhabitants thereof have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth." All right, but you see, reading verse 11 again, it says, "Shall I count them pure with the wicked balances and with the bag of deceitful weights?" So you see, um, and again, going into the wicked, all right, which, when you read Malachi, the first chapter, it goes into who the wicked, the border of wickedness being Esau, Edom, all right, and his wicked, his wicked balances and deceitful weights, all right. Again, his whole system that he's got set up again is set up to oppress the people, and even more so Jake, man. Jake, they can't get along, man. You know, and even if you do get caught up in those things, man, I mean, you pretty much, man, because again, it's set up to keep you oppressed. So, you know, um, their whole usury system, all right, their whole what do you call it? Their fines and hidden fees and things of that nature, man. It's all set up, to oppress, all right. But nevertheless, man, this is going back to this Revelation 6. These the balances, right? Revelation 6 and 5, it says, "And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand." All right. So again, this is for them, this is what it's going into, man. Slavery, for you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians. All right, that yoke of iron. All right, the heavy bondage that we're suffering, that we're dealing with, even up to this day, man. You know, and like I said, because this has been given to him, and ultimately, the same one that gave him the power to do these things is going to be the same one which is going to be how shy to take it away from him. So hopefully this was edifying. Once again, I'm gonna give all credit to Yahweh Shemel Shai, the honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Until next time, Lord's will, I say shalom.